This is boxing tickets, and I am not even sure what day of the week it is. I'm just gonna have to check here. It's Tuesday. I've lost myself completely. Tuesday the 19th of March. Delighted to be joined once again with the main man of Belfast and Irish boxing, Jamie Conlan. How are
Hi.
you?
All good, Morty. How's things?
I think you've done about as many air miles as me recently, although mine's been in the car. You've been doing obviously flying obviously to America and everything else, but I think for myself, I think I probably need a standing eight count. I think I'm still in fumes from the weekend.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, what a busy start the 2024. That's six shows done now for the year, and number seven on the way in 11 days. When you obviously have the breakout in ulsterhall, like
Mhm.
when you yourself, obviously Jamie, when you plan shows, like do you imagine that there's going to be so many shows? Like I think that's five different promotions now. I've had a show in the first 3 months.
I don't think anyone envisioned it being this busy, but it's brilliant to see. I think Irish boxing is thriving, and because you see other promoters coming in, like the new promoters, Magic and stuff coming over and doing shows in Castle Bar, and byrne has got a rake of shows lined up for the year. It's brilliant to see. It's brilliant to see people just constantly coming in, new promoters coming through, Stephen McEleney and things like that. It's very, very good. It's brilliant for Irish boxing. It's brilliant for the boxers, and long may it continue.
And obviously, even like Dillian Whyte, like they think it like last year, Dillian Whyte was fighting Tyson Fury and everything else, and you're sort of going his return. Well, it was probably nearly 2 years ago now, I think, was it? Um, Obviously him returning to the ring in Castlebar as well. Like in some ways, that's bringing eyes into the sport that we need. Because we aren't blessed with obviously world level fighters that Dillian would sort of be in the heavyweight division. So he's probably brought new eyes into the sport as well over the weekend.
Maybe, yeah, maybe, but just more the merrier on the shows, yeah.
Definitely is. Like, just I guess obviously we don't have to recap too much. Obviously, we spoke obviously after your last show in the Ulster Hall in January. Obviously since then you've had two fighters out. You'd obviously Paddy and Kevin Cronin out there at the weekend. Like with Paddy, like, tell me obviously sort of your thoughts and sort of like I sort of maybe looked at the fight and went, Balanga was probably maybe and it was one of them where he showed something different in the fight. Like probably maybe the first couple of rounds, probably threw Potty off. Maybe his game
Mhm.
plan, the sort of dirty tricks, low blows, the elbows. Like when you
Yeah,
look
well,
back on the fight, do you sort of look back on it and go, we maybe could have seen more of Potty? I guess we've always seen he'll go into a firefight. You said before he hooked with hookers in Ulster
mhm.
Hall. He was sort of a split second from an uppercut landing and it could have been a totally different fight.
Yeah, no, like any kind of fight when it goes that way, you replay it a lot in your head, and there's various different ways you can see it going. But Berlanga was better on the night, and that was kind of my how I kind of broke it down logically. And he was the better man on the night. I don't overly think he was anything special. Just he got his tactics right on the night. They were very smart in the first 3 rounds, and I thought Paddy had a real chance in them 3 rounds because you could see a bit of fear in Berlanga. You could see him, yes, boxing on the back foot, and his feet were a lot better than what anyone had expected. And he done his homework on Paddy, and he was very, very good. His feet were brilliant. But he also, I think he was afraid of the power early, which he came openly said after. They were very wary of the power, especially in the first 2 or 3 rounds. And Paddy had that chance. And then once that was gone, it showed a lot of toughness. And I don't think anyone's ever doubted the toughness and heart of Paddy McCrory. And it was just started to become a hard night, really hard night at the office. And Berlanga then had momentum, had confidence, and had kind of figured out the game plan of Paddy. So it was a tough one because it annoys me, and I'll know annoy Big P, is that wasn't a true reflection of him. That wasn't his best performance. It's always easy to kind of, when you lose and I gave it everything, that was me. You kind of can accept it easier, but when that wasn't the best me, that's probably where that's the hardest. That's the hardest one to accept, and that's probably where he's at this one time. But um, for me, it showed that like he's not it wasn't a daunting experience. He wasn't in awe of the week. He handled himself amazing all week. I think he gained a lot more followers and friends, especially stateside, because of how he kind of his true reflection of himself outside of the ring came across brilliantly all week, and he was a breath of fresh air to the Yanks and a breath of fresh air to what Berlanga portrayed in terms of, you know, the egotistical and, you know, they run around with the jewelry, and Paddy was just, you know, simple and plain blue collar, hard working, and no airs and graces about him. Very approachable. So he was brilliant that week. I was very proud of him how he handled himself. I was proud of him how he handled himself in the ring, because when you're in there and it is a daunting experience, you just get froze up. But although Berlanga performed a lot better, it wasn't the best Paul McCrory, and that's kind of, you know, that's where it hurts, because you go, like, I left it after going, like, I still think on a different day you can beat Berlanga, even though he was beat.
It's one of them. I think it's, it's, what plays in the mind. Obviously, you'll know. Obviously, I've been in it as a fighter, but like, the elbow and the low punches and things like that. Like, you wonder sometimes, was it part of the plan? They sort of try and push Potty off what he was doing. Obviously the elbow in particular. Obviously, I know Potty was given off to the referee, sort of going, "What's going on?" Did that put him off the sort of plan a bit? But then Belanga's footwork, the body work, he just sort of systematically tried to break Potty down. A really good defense. I can see obviously why Potty's frustrated and things like that as well, because I think he before the stoppage, I think he landed a straight right hand, and he's probably thinking I can push him back. And I guess obviously when you're that sort of level and you can't sort of push them back, then obviously there's a fear of what's going to come back the opposite way.
Yeah, no, it's world level. It's world level, and small mistakes that you make or you don't pull the trigger on, you get there is always an answer for it, and they'll come back with something else. So it is a game of inches at that time, as you said. He landed a great right hand. He just missed with an uppercut, and these are all just inches, and that's what makes the greats great. Berlanga was very good on the night, really, really good. He got his game plan really well. They had studied really well. They had worked hard on it, and it is a tough one, because I genuinely believe when we were going out that the party could cause a massive upset, and that, he had everything in the arsenal to do so. I still believe it. It just, on the night the tactics were better, and he adapted well, and in the ring he adapted well also. So it's a hard one, but also proud.
It's one of them, I guess. Obviously, Potty never knew he was sort of going to get to that level. He sort of never really set, a lot of boxers nowadays, they turn pro and they go, "I'm going to be a world champion." Potty never sort of had that sort of mindset. Like, he always probably already said he overachieved, but it's probably hurting him now more just on the performance than anything. We know since that obviously Luke Keeler sort of mentioned maybe potential dust up with him and Potty as well. Is it one of them for Potty? It's just taking a bit of time just to lick the wounds and to figure out what he wants to do next?
It is all right. Time is a great revealer. It will reveal the true feelings of what you're thinking, and it kind of reveals everything, reveals all. So yeah, told him to take some time. He's going to come down to the show. He'll be with us throughout the week. We're going to go for dinner on the week and whatnot. And I think after March, we'll sit down and we'll have a good, honest conversation on where we think the next move should be. I do think there's still a lot more nights left in Potty, but also understand we are similar age, and age waits for no man, and I would like to see him go off into the sunset his way. So it is it's a crossroads for him internally to make that decision, but it's a decision that I know the way he thinks and the way he kind of analyzes things, it'll be the right decision regardless of what it is.
I guess it sort of brings us on. Obviously, Kevin Cronin obviously helped him in sparring quite a bit. Obviously, signed with yourselves. Obviously, he's mixed pretty much
Protege.
protege sort of thing coming through, but obviously the same weight division. Obviously, I know that you weren't obviously over in America for the fight, but obviously I'm sure you've watched things online. Like, it seems to be like Cathal Crowley sort of said at the weekend, and I guess the BUA only to clarify things, but he had sort of said there was talk of him and Kevin next, and the BUA sort of said that Tommy Hyde's mandatory. I think we're sort of in a puzzle here at the moment, sort of what's going on. But like, is the plan probably Mick's probably one of the more to ask, but is the plan more get Kevin a couple of fights, or is it sort of getting him back into the mix as quickly as possible?
No, I think we're looking at Kerry next for Kevin. we've been speaking internally about the next step being down in Kerry, trying to get him back in Kerry. We're looking at, don't know what's going to happen now, but with Katie's card, would it go there? And like Brennan was discussed of, and yeah, there's plenty of options. So middleweight division is very hot right now in Ireland. Plenty of names in the mix, both like Cronin, Crowley, Brennan, Tommy Hayes. You're looking at like some fantastic fights here in the future and present. And Kevin is more than happy to get in the mix right now. And we've identified, well, Michael did at the very start, the following and the fan base in Kerry, and it is a kind of untapped market that's not kind of been tuned into, and I think something can be built there in Kerry with Kevin. And yeah, we're looking at something hopefully around about May time, June time down there. Just kind of figuring it out this one time.
I'm just thinking there that's going to be another big long distance drive. Kerry, I'm sure, it's probably about 4 or 5 hours away there again. It's I'm just thinking I might need new tires maybe then. The other ones I think burned out. I guess, sort of you can label the show well for obviously next week, the breakout, sort of Kurt Walker headliner for the first time, first title fight against James Beech Jr. He's sort of been there, Frank Warren shows and things like that, and sort of got to a certain level, and no discredit to him, but sort of maybe found his match, and really good obviously test for Kurt next Saturday night.
Oh, it's the perfect step up. He is a good gatekeeper, as I would like to call it, in the division. If you're good enough, you'll get past James Beech Jr., but if you're not, you'll get found out. And I think it gives everyone a hard night, regardless of the end result. Everyone kind of has to come through a tough night against James Beech Jr. He comes through, he's the old school way with Earl Johnson, and they kind of just, they graft really, really hard in that gym, and it's always going to be a real hard ask and tough ask. There's great momentum in the gym, so he'll be buzzing off other people who succeeding, so he'll want to get back in the mix himself. As you said, he's won, I think he won the IBO Intercontinental or one of them kind of minor belts, so he's tasted success, but then has also came up short against good level, high quality fighters, Dennis McCann and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a big night. The breakout was for Kurt because it is an opportunity. He's been coming bubbling on the undercards and looking good and not really getting the real highlights shown on him. But this is a chance now to get highlighted and get promoted and get pushed in the right direction. They get something built for the future. We believed in Kurt since long before the Olympic Games, but then after the Olympics, he became our number one target to kind of sign and try to build and look to identify the next generation coming through. He's always been top of the pops, like, so it's a big night for him. It's a tough game for him. He will have to come through some rough patches, but the sparring and the feedback that I'm getting from the sparring is phenomenal. Mixing with high level fighters, Ryan Gardner and so on and so forth. So him and H have been working really hard. I've been impressed from everything I'm hearing and seeing from this. I'm excited to see what the end product is now on the night. We were unlucky with Fergus because, again, when we're saying the breakout, Fergus was also on that kind of cusp of something big, and him and Aston Brown was going to be a fire fight. But luckily, we were able to kind of recoup that co-main position with, again, something that comes into the breakout position is Conor Curran, Rudy Farrell, and it's going to be it's that I think could potentially steal the show. I think that is a fight that could really break out to be a fight of night. I think Conor Kerr has had a great amateur career, but Rudy has been unlucky on willing to take a fight, fight anyone and jump in there. No if buts and maybes, no questions asked. Takes all opportunities thrown his way. And again, I think coming into this fight initially probably as the underdog, as it's getting closer, potentially as the favourite, given Kerr's background as an amateur and Harry's kind of stood out and his transition to the pro game has been very quick and has been fast, but it's given the back and the kind of the guidance and the confidence that they have in him to kind of take these kind of fights. So that fight could really steal the show with what's on the line. Bigger fights in the division. Jared Hughes is now back is on the card. After Freeman got injured, we put Jared on. There is a huge fight. There's Miles Casey. There's a lot of good fights. Colin Bradley is in the division coming back. Real good, exciting division within Ireland that, like the super middleweight division, could have loads of different outcomes and loads of different fights. So it's shaping out to be a nice card. Good to see Big Stevie back. Yeah, he's been out of the ring for so long. People kind of start to forget about him. He was becoming the forgotten man after having such a fantastic career, but plenty left in him. Looking forward to seeing him back in the undercard with Glenn Byrne. You're looking at someone who Jay is trying to build for a fight with maybe James Freeman, John Boyd making his debut. There's a lot to look forward to on the card. JP O'Meara, who's our guy from Adam Martin's gym and from London, former GB international, West Ham fanatic, brings a big crowd. One of the biggest crowds on the night will be from JP O'Meara. Really looking forward to it. Again, super featherweight, plenty of big fights out there for JP. So it's a card that kind of is shaping up really nicely, and we haven't spoken about Owen O'Neill and Dom Donegan. I think when we're talking about breakouts, Owen needs a big breakout fight. If Dom wins, it's him back in the mix, and the name kind of stands for the fights that's producing. Owen and Dom have a long history, and we put an exhibition in the Ulster Hall between the both of them before, and that didn't answer any questions. It just left more questions to be answered. Both of them thought they came out of the exhibition better than the other, and I actually thought Dom came out of the exhibition better when they went in, but I think Owen has got the momentum and he needs to kind of rectify a lot of things. He has a lot of critics he needs to answer after the weight situation against Deco, so he has the bit between his teeth, and Dom will see this as an opportunity to take a scalp. So really looking forward to the card in general.
It definitely, obviously, as you talk about it there as well, I'm sort of looking through the card and I'm sort of going, you could sort of twist and turns of it all. Like it's a crazy stat. You know that the last time Stephen Ward fought in the Ulster Hall was his bloodbath with Liam Conroy, and that was 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, it is all right. It's mental. I remember sitting. One of the referees was basically sitting on my knee for that fight, and it was just a great fight. Like I remember getting blood coming leaving away, and blood was on my shirt. Fantastic fight, fantastic from both lads, him and Conroy. But it showed the true Stevie Ward, that kind of that guts that he has, that like never say die attitude, and getting back to that is key now. This is the first kind of step on the ladder to get him back into the big fights that he's wanting. Stevie actually wanted a real tough fight, but it's just about progression and getting him back into the mix. And I think bigger fights are set to come for him.
Obviously, the massive news that sort of came with it is, DAZN. Obviously, it's absolutely huge for obviously Irish boxing. Like I think sometimes people see, DAZN obviously attached to a card and they go, all right, happy days, there's TV covered. But like every fighter in this card, so the profiles can go through the roof, just from one card alone being shown all around the world. Like I don't think sometimes people appreciate sort of how big this is. Like this is probably one of the biggest bits of news you've had in a couple of years for Irish boxing, Jimmy.
It is all right, and it's not a bigger promoter coming in with the TV network. It's an Irish promoter getting a bigger network to come to Ireland. So it's something they've been working on for a while, and banging on the door. I've always been very thankful to ESPN Plus, who've kind of backed us and kind of looked after us in terms of way, give us an opportunity to kind of promote and grow, and seen a bit of confidence in us to do international rights and show a lot of the ESPN, or a lot of our show on ESPN. And it was always something that we're very proud of, working together with Top Rank on, but being able now to get DAZN on board and work with DAZN on shows going forward would be fantastic for Irish boxing, because it's seen the reach that we were able to get on, like one kind of promo video alone was times 10 of what reach we were getting on other stuff. So looking at the social numbers just with having DAZN working together with us is insane. So long may it continue. It's shown that Irish boxing is now being, the eyes are on the Irish boxing. We've always kind of been banging on the drum about having the quantity on this island, north and south, to kind of being able to bring the big time nights here. But now we're able to do it. We're able to do it on our own 2 feet. We're not having to rely on another promoter come in and bring in other fighters from across the water to kind of headline and whatnot. We're able to do it with all Irish grown fighters, building building the next generation through, and giving the amateurs coming through an opportunity to get onto a platform such as the DAZN to kind of promote and build themselves onto like world level fighters. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant that we're all kind of working together on that, and that long may it continue with the DAZN.
It's sort of like it's a sort of like, and as you know, in boxing, sometimes you don't really get a lot of praise for sort of work you do, promotion wise and things like that. People think, oh, making a fortune and everything else. Like, this is a pat on the back for you, Michael, for what you've done with Conlan boxing now, that you're getting gratification sort of in a way where somebody like the DAZN's coming in. Like, it's not just a one card thing, is it? This is a continual deal.
Yeah, we'll be doing all our shows now, majority of our shows with the DAZN going forward, and we'll be looking just to kind of grow the relationship, strengthen the relationship, do smaller shows, bigger shows, and bring it all around the country. So, when I went to them, I went for the pitch of to be the go-to service for Irish boxing, and that's kind of shared vision. So it's it's something that's going to grow Irish boxing, I think, to a new level. Having more eyeballs on Irish boxing, watching progression, getting involved, getting emotional connections with fighters, seeing the development of fighters is only good for the future of the sport here. And it's something that we've been big advocate for the last, I don't know, since I was fighting. I've always been banging on that drum to say that needs to be more. We have the quality on this island. We're not getting opportunities, and when the opportunity comes, it's probably not at the right time for said fighter. So it's about giving the fighter here the opportunity, but also giving them multiple opportunities with building a career. So it's good. It's good for everyone, and we're always open to kind of working with other promoters on shows and developing fighters, and not just their own fighters. Always kind of looking to develop Irish fighters in general, and kind of bring them onto the world scene.
It's what you're sort of saying there. It's great, and it's amazing. Like, it's people don't have to get to the stage now where they're of a certain quality to sort of get on like a Matchroom card or a Queensbury card or things like that. People can start from the start, and as I say, you've John Boyd obviously making his debut in the card. People can latch onto a fighter's career a lot easier now from the very, very start and build with them. And I guess in some ways, the DAZN and what they're doing with Conlan boxing, it's sort of like the old Box Nation days where they sort of come involved from the very start and build the story up. And who knows, in a couple of years' time, some of these guys could be headlining these cards because of the inspiration they've got from the likes of being shown in the DAZN.
Yeah, well, like situation of Kurt to just kind of focus on. Kurt is headlining. He's been on all the undercards. He's been like good position, bad position. He's had to taste all different kind of aspects of having to grow on an undercard. He's now got an opportunity on a small card, relatively small card in the Ulsterhall, but he's the headline on it. He's to build his career now from the Ulsterhall, and how we now have to build Kurt from an Ulsterhall headline to an SSC headline. So build him right through, co-main in an SSC or be a highlight fight in an SSC, then build him up similar way with Lewis Crocker's had in that transition phase of he headlined the Ulsterhall in 2022, I think it was.
2021.
2021.
The only reason I remember it, Jamie, it was the 5th of November. You know that old saying, remember the 5th of November.
Right. Well, we done the field in August of that year was the first outdoor first event in general, sporting event in general, without no social distancing, without no masks, and we were kind of the dummies to kind of help grow people back into like whatever we were doing back then, they get back to normal. And then our second event was Lewis Crocker, Paddy McCrory in the Ulster Hall, and that was kind of the start of Lewis's progression. He then had injuries and situation out of the ring, and he had to kind of rebuild again, which shows the testament to him and his mental character to do that. But that's I think a good template for the likes of Kurt Walker to show. Look, Lewis headlined here, he done here and done here, and then he was coming in here, and now look where he is, and potentially headlining the SSC this year. So it's something that kind of, it gives us a platform to build people on, but we also have with the zone back in it and pushing it. And you can see when your performance is good and you go viral and the clips go viral and everything you're doing, how much that elevates you as a commercially viable option for big fights and bringing you to kind of wider range and wider public. That's something that all the fighters should be very eager to do and eager to impress, and given an extra incentive to kind of go out there and try and steal a show, because every fight's going to be live on the zone. Every fight's going to be globally shown around the world. It's time to shine.
Definitely. Speaking on Lewis, obviously I see obviously back in camp with Billy Nelson. Is this sort of plan maybe still around June time to get him back out?
Next fight's done and dusted. It's just waiting on locking it in on the date situation, and we're just waiting on that. But yeah, next fight's done and dusted. World ranked fighter. Another big fight, another big step in the right direction. We have a free fight plan, which we're all pretty happy with to get where we want to get within for the start of next year. So 3 big fights, he comes through all of them, or sorry, 2 big fights and he comes to them too, and we have a massive fight here in Belfast again. But it's good times for Lewis Crocker. He's got a pathway to becoming world champion now, I think, and with the back in the matchroom and Eamon's pushing him in the right direction and moving things and getting these big fights and big nights for him, the world is his oyster. It's just about staying in the gym, which he's doing. He's back. He's had back-to-back fights, which he took at really late notice just before Christmas in that January fight. Very, very hard for him to kind of come straight back in. And for any of his, like every boxer wants to take some downtime and spend some time with the family after a big build-up in the first kind of stage that he's ever been at, with Tyrone kind of on him, and the mental pressure that they would have been under, both of them. You just need to kind of digress after that and just lay down all the tools. But he picked them up pretty quickly, straight back in the camp, put Christmas to the side, and went out and done a fantastic performance on John Jose Felix, and took some downtime off again. Finally got a holiday, got away to Las Vegas, went and seen the Super Bowl, done all that, and now back to work. Him and Billy just hard at it now in Glasgow and focused on an end of May, start of June date.
Probably maybe going to see, I know with the short turnaround last time, and but probably maybe didn't get a big enough camp as they wanted. So you're maybe going to expect the levels to go up again. That confidence sort of going through the roof now as well. It's going to bring bigger performances. And when Lewis is hearing it, he's a 3-5 plan, potentially becoming a world champion. If that doesn't motivate you, nothing will.
Yeah, that's right. And he's now, we've always said he just needed the opportunity, and he's now got the opportunity. So he's straight back to camp, leaving no stone unturned. Last camp was very, very rushed. They couldn't work with it on anything really, just weight. They had to get the weight down, and it was a real tough, grueling camp for both of them. And to bring in really early before it, just to kind of get a lead in of camp and then straight back to work. So it's good. It's good. It's good to see the motivation. It's good to see, as you said, if this doesn't motivate you, nothing else will. But it's good to see the right mentality from Lewis, and once he has all that, he's got the talent. He just needs to he stays focused and stay in the gym. Once he does that, the world is his oyster, and everything is set out for him. There's a great plan and pathway now for him.
And speaking obviously of Tyrone McKenna, obviously it looks like there was a couple of rumours put out, maybe potentially he's coming back. Was that sort of? I don't think Tyrone sort of said too much on it. Is there talk of maybe of that in the background, or is he just hung the gloves up for good?
I don't know. The rumours came out of the blue. He's working the show for us in the zone on March the 30th. He's a bit of a Roman commentator, a Roman interviewer. We'll have a sit down after that, but Tyrone has been enjoying his time off. I had seen his face has got a lot fatter and the belly looks a bit bigger. But I also seen him running with Anto Kakachi, so there must be a wee bit of fire still in the belly. But it was a very quick decision, retiring. With a plan to retire this year, definitely did. And I woke up to the morning that he had decided this is it. He called it a day. And I think all of us, Trina included, all woke up. No one had realized, Tommy, everyone, that he retired overnight. And then we had the city hall reception and stuff like that. But I haven't spoke to him yet. Having had a coffee with him the other week, but we never spoke about anything but just life in general. So and talked about Florida and what he's been up to and what I've been up to, and we're just kind of speaking as mates. So yeah, I seen the article, I'd seen everything coming out, I'd seen Michael as well, and that's nothing's been really discussed yet on any of the lads, but it was intriguing because it seemed very well received. A lot of hype around it, a lot of messages. I was jet lagged when I came back from Florida, and I dozed off during the day and woke up and my phone was insane with people messaging about potential of Michael, Tyrone, and Paddy on kind of a big feeling night, and it was just it's the first I've heard of it, and I thought I was still dreaming when I'd seen the article.
Somebody was trying to clickbait somewhere there, and obviously they've got a lot of views, and you probably maybe thought you'd won a lot of money, you'd won the lottery or something. Going, why have I got this many messages? Somebody's put out something good on me, and you're going, where's this come from? In theory, it could be very good. Obviously, Michael coming back anywhere is huge, but obviously, Tyrone being back as well, and Paddy back, like you could probably have that feel of 20,000. That obviously he's a plan initially previously before that could be a realization done.
Well, I haven't next to the marathon. We haven't spoke about future. We haven't spoke about anything. We're not to speak about anything until after he finishes marathon. That's his main focus at this moment in time. He's a very focused and driven individual. So when he's focused on something, that's all he can be focused on at that moment in time. And he's more involved in this as he's went to Boston there with Kevin Cronin. We started to look at something in Boston potentially. He went and met with Ken Casey at the Dropkick Murphys. Looked at different venues and arenas over there. I think there's a new arena with the MGM Grand are running. So he's trying to be active in this kind of side of the business. He's looking after Kevin Cronin, a lot more hands-on that, and it's good. It's good to see him focused. It's good to see him focused, and it's good to see him putting his kind of energy and focus into this side, which I've always kind of wanted him to do. And when we set up Conlan Boxing, that was always the goal. When he was going to retire, he was going to walk into this and kind of give me a hand with everything, and I can go back into the shadows, and he can kind of carry the face of it. So it's good. It's a welcome addition. But in terms of fighting again, we haven't spoke a single second on it, and letting him do the marathon first.
Is Michael like a hyperactive kid? Obviously when getting more involved with this, and is he like a hyperactive kid? And then you're he's going, Jamie, what about doing this? What about doing this? And you're like, calm it down, relax.
No, he's a pain in the bollocks. Yeah, he definitely is a pain in the bollocks. But the Boston idea is something that he really likes. He's met with Ken Casey, he's met with MGM, he spoke with different people, and it's something that he was playing around with to see if there's an option to do something like that, and seeing there's fights that can be done in Boston going forward. And we have a good relationship with Mark Porter, who's an Irishman living over there, and is a big help when we're putting the guys on in Boston. He kind of helps us on the ground, and he's a very good contact to have over there, and helps us with setting up things and speaking and open doors with different people. And then Mick went with Ken Casey, who was running shows, but I don't think he's been doing them for the past while. And again, a fantastic help, and someone who's big in Boston boxing.
I would say finally, just want to touch on, I guess, with so many new pros sort of turning over, obviously with the Olympics and things coming up now this year, and there's going to be a whole probably magnitude of people turning over, because at this stage the Olympics doesn't look like it's there for 2028. Is there any plans to sort of extend sort of more fighters in the Conlan boxing this year? I guess you're always going to look out for talent, aren't you?
Well, we're always looking out for talent. I love watching the amateur game. For me, it's the purest form of boxing. So I can I can watch and enjoy and can see the true talent and true essence of the sport when you watch a lot of these fighters coming through. So we're always looking out for talent, selective on who we work with, but especially made some mistakes in the past. But it's definitely something to kind of keep our eyes on. There is some phenomenal fighters on the island coming through and always getting better. The Olympics this year is going to be fantastic because there is some fantastic fighters going to it from our country, and supporting them all the way. Some fighters may not even get there, and you believe they're to be world champions as pros. So it's always something we're identifying. Yeah.
Well, look, obviously, I'll thank you for your time. Obviously, you unfortunately have to see me.
Forgot to mention on our show, March 30th. So we've teamed up and partnered up with Prize Guy. But Paul from Prize Guys came up with the idea, and I'm very excited to do it. So he runs this cash machine. You get in the machine, you get the cash. So we're going to put that in the ring between fights. I think we'll maybe do it at the start of the night and at the end of the night, but it'll give chances for people to win around about 1,000, I think it is, £1,000. So it'll be identifying people's seat numbers and getting in the ring. I think Paul wants to do as much as possible on the night. It'll all be on our timing with the DAZN in terms of if there's fights going early and whatnot. But it's something that I would like to try myself, a bit like a Crystal Maze kind of aspect of things, where you have the cash, grab the cash and you put it in, and fantastic. A wee bit of element, something different on the night for boxing, adding a wee bit of more entertainment to the night. It gives it a bit more of a fans feeling of things, grabbing the fans in and making them feel more included in the night. So we'll have that throughout the night, coming into the ring, the cash machine in the ring, people trying to get the money and stuff like that. So something new, something unique, something I'm excited to see and kind of testing the waters on in this smaller show, but something we would like to do going forward, and smaller things they got with the Prize Guy, who's got fantastic ideas to kind of bring more people to the sport as well. You're opening doors at different avenues where you'll probably get a bit more of your missuses and your friends who probably didn't know who they're actually going to go and watch, but now they're involved in boxing and hooked into it, hopefully going forward.
And maybe coming away with a grand and cash at the end of the night as well.
Well, Morty, I don't think they go for the media, so you just stay in your seat, mate. But yes, other people definitely walk away with grand and cash on the night. Unless you buy a ticket. If you buy a ticket, more than your ticket number gets announced, then you have an opportunity to buy to go. But yeah, it's something different, something unique, and it gives people an opportunity to be more immersed in the show and want to go a bit more. So very, very excited to see that on display.
Definitely. Well, look, I'm leaving you with a smile. Obviously, you unfortunately you're going to have to see quite a lot of me next week, so I'll apologise for that in advance. But thanks as always for your time. Just to obviously finally add, is there many tickets left sort of for the show next week?
No. I think we're just over 100 left, which we're likely to go on fight week. Yeah, we've a promo going out next Monday. We've things going out next week with the DAZN and stuff. And yeah, I think usually when we look at our numbers, you're gone, but we're close to. I haven't looked at the update today, but we usually get an update on it was bank holiday yesterday, but we usually get it start a week from Ulsterhall. I don't think there's much left. Like we're touching 100, just under 100 probably now.
Fantastic. Well, look, Jamie, we'll obviously look forward to catching up again in fight week next week. Hopefully, as I say, the show passes obviously 8 fight card in the Ulsterhall. If you can't be there with a ticket, it'll be live on the DAZN.
Come on, Morty.
Cheers, Jamie. Take care.
Mate.
Thanks.
All the best.
Bye. Bye.